also want to talk about your journey,
Yep.
Dave. And I think you're, in a lot of ways, I mean, we are from different generations, but I think you kind of grew up in a lot of the ways that I did. I mean, I was just crazy about entertainment when I was growing up. I loved watching television shows. I loved sitcoms. And, when you talk about your journey to Hollywood, you kind of start when you were 20, but what was it like for you growing up? Were you, just fascinated with television, and how did writing start for you? And what was it that got you on that path?
So I'm a child of the 80s, which there was, I had a computer like in I think I had an Apple IIc in like 83 or 84, but like I grew up with cable television. And so then I had HBO, I had movies. So, either went outside and played, which I did, but a lot of time was watching television. And it was always fascinating to me. And I don't know if I've ever told this story as in a wrestling context, but when I was 13 years old, my parents and I, we did this like 3-week ridiculous. It was like part of my dad's work trip. We went to Hawaii as like a bonus that he got, but then we had like these 3 off days in LA before we flew back. So we went to see a taping of Family Matters, the Urkel show.
Yeah. Okay.
So the security guard screwed up. He was supposed to have us go right and sit on this bench to wait to go to the show. He goes, "There you go. It's stage 16. We're like, okay. So we just start wandering the Sony lot in Los Angeles. And at the time, they're shooting the movie Hook, which had Julia Roberts, Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams, Steven Spielberg directed it. And so here's this ridiculous, most American family wandering around this Hollywood backlot. And we walk by, and my dad goes, "That's Robin Williams." I said, "What?" And I look to the left. There's Robin Williams talking to Dustin Hoffman, and there's Spielberg. And I'm just like, and I'm a huge film fan. And we just look at it, and then we walk to the stage, and over to the right, getting out of her trailer, is Julia Roberts, who at the time had just broken up with Keith or Sutherland, maybe, and was dating Jason Patrick. And I'm just like, this is what I want to do. Like,
it must have been surreal, though.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, and then so like the sound stages were open so we could see the sets, and I was just fascinated by it. And from that day, like I remember going, I don't know if I was a freshman or a sophomore, like the college that I ended up going to Emerson College, which is a huge TV school. Jay Leno went there, Dennis Leary, Seth Grahame-Smith, who he wrote Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. He does a lot of big movies. It was like a really good television school. And so for me, I grew up watching TV. I didn't want to be a fireman. I didn't want to be anything. I almost was a geometry teacher. So thank God I didn't go down that road. But it was either geometry or writing. And I always loved wrestling.
Let me think about that one.
Yeah. I remember the book was wrong once. My geometry book in sophomore year was wrong. And I found something that was wrong in the book. And I went to my professor and I was like, this is wrong. I said, I'd done it 3 times. The book's wrong. And the book was wrong. And I was like, I think I've peaked in geometry. So that was what I wanted. But, I always loved wrestling. And I remember being 10 years old, and I knew I did not have the athletic acumen to be a pro wrestler, but I knew that the show was produced. And so I always wanted to do that. So, to go to Hollywood, had some nice success. But when I was in Hollywood, it was sort of the last gasp of the sitcom era. Being like, I got real lucky. I got my job on Friends because I could type fast. Like literally, that's how I got my job. They needed someone who could type over 80 words a minute. And at the time, 2 days before I had my meeting, I was at 65. I literally spent 2 days working on my typing skills that I got clocked at 102 words a minute.
Jeez.
And that's how I got my job, because they wanted somebody who could type fast. And
cruised in there, huh?
Yeah, it was.
We got a ringer.
Yeah, well, he's like, do you work in like legal? I was like, no, I just can type fast because I've been using a computer since 1984. Yeah, so it's funny how things work. But I worked on Jason Alexander had a sitcom called Bob Patterson. It was his first sitcom after Seinfeld, and I learned a real lesson with that thing. Like, we had no idea if the show was good. We had no idea if the audiences would like it. And then it aired, and no one liked it. Like, just everyone, it didn't hit with audiences, and we put all this work into it. And I'm like, this is hard. Like you have no idea. You don't know for months later if something's going to work or not. And so when the opportunity to work at WWE came up, because I was obviously a big fan and kept applying, and when it came up, I was like, wait, I can tell a talent what to say, and they'll say it on TV 3 minutes later? That is such a completely different environment.
Reaction.
Yeah.
But did you write before this? I mean, when you came in, were you like, I want to be a writer, or just I want to get into entertainment? Because my big plan when I got out of school, I was going to go to LA and try and become a page, you know what I mean? But things went the other way. I went to the East Coast.
Yeah. So for me, like, I picked up a video camera literally after that trip to LA, and I started. I didn't like writing papers, so literally everything in high school were videos. So so I would make videos for my Italian class instead of writing a paper, and it just I started making videos. But when I got to college, I found writing to be and you have to remember in 1995, 6, 7, there wasn't an iPhone. You had to like the barrier of entry to make content or whatever it was expensive. You had to rent a camera. It was real difficult. So writing to me was a little bit easier. So now to come full circle now and be able to do it all, and literally our whole company is my backpack. You got the camera that I shot you on, like it's all right there. And the fact that I shot that interview and they had it was on the show, 20 minutes later, it shows what's really possible.